Narayana Akhila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Guru Ayappa. A warm welcome to you all to 18 Steps. Today I thought, I will make a short talk on how to cultivate Bhakti. Many people have been asking me, like, uh, how we can develop our devotion to the Lord in simple terms, like, without uh, going into severe austerities and being still in our worldly life. How can we slowly progress towards Bhagavan? So I thought, I will make a small video on that, and then we will discuss about it. So one very simple method to cultivate devotion as a form of Vedantic sadhana, as prescribed by Vedas, is to recite either devotional songs or stutis or stotras. Stotras and stutis are praises usually. At the same time, some of them have very profound meanings also. To sing bhajans or songs may be difficult for many because it involves the knowledge of an intricate science, or what we call music. You need to learn music maybe to learn bhajans properly. There is nothing wrong in singing even without knowing the intricacies of music, but still it is like you need to know how to sing so that you get the full effect of a song, a kirtan or a bhajan. But to recite stutis or stotras, it is not so. Anyone can do it with more or less melody. See, when we sing praises of the Lord, Bhagavan has nothing to do with it. Like, he is neither affected by praises nor affected by curses. He has nothing to do with it. But when we sing, there is a joy that comes from within us. And it is for that we have to sing kirtans and chant stutis. So, singing simple bhajans is a very good method for getting connected with the Lord. Especially bhajans composed by those who had seen the height of devotion, like Tyagaraja, or by Muthuswami Dikshidhar, or Meera, or Kabir. They all had seen the height of devotion. They all had attained the Lord. So the words that had emanated from their heart, they are still so full of energy that by mere singing, even without knowing the nuances of music in it, it is very easy for us to attain that state of happiness. Meera was a great devotee of the Lord. In fact, she was a realized soul. So, bhajans that come from a realized soul are highly inspiring and effective. Same case with abhangs, Panduranga abhangs we have, beautiful abhangs we have. And we have these bhajans of Gopala Krishna Bharati and all in Tamil. Annamacharya Kritis in Telugu. Purandaradasa's songs in Karnataka. They're all like so full of devotion because those who composed those songs, they were actually seeing the Lord and experiencing Him and singing it. See, for example, when Tyagaraja was singing Sita Kalyana Vaibhogame, he was actually seeing the marriage of the Lord. He was actually seeing the Sita Rama wedding. That's how he was singing. Or when Purandarasa sings Sakala Graha Bala Nine Sarsijaksha, he's realizing in himself, in his heart, that this Brahman, the Sarasijaksha Narayana, he himself represents all the planets. All the 9 planets are him. So there is so much of profound meaning as well as devotion in those songs. So even in illiterate, if he sings it, he still gets the benefit of it. Okay, then if bhajanas cannot be sung by you, then you can go with recitation. You can recite stotras or stutis. There are a number of stotras. Like Shankaracharya has written so many stotras. Several other great gurus have written several stotras on every single deity in the Hindu pantheon. So for your Ishta Devata, you can choose any number of stotras and offer it to him. For Guru Arpan, we have this great stotram of Narayaniyam. And then there is Sankalipuram Anandarama Dikshithar's beautiful stotra. Guruvayupuresha Pancharatna stotra. And Udupi Krishna, there are stotras. Madhvacharya has written some beautiful stotras on him. There are several other stotras, for Puri Jagannath, for Kashi Vishwanath, you name it, and for Badrinath, anywhere you have, for any deity in this country, you have any number of stotras. So you can take to recitation. In the matter of recitation, there are no excuses to offer. There you cannot say that, oh, I don't know music, my voice is not good, or I cannot appreciate music, or I don't get any feel, or anything like that. Because recitation can be done by anybody. You are not reciting to please anybody. If at all you are trying to please anybody, you are trying to please Bhagavan. And he cannot say your voice is not good or anything. Bhagavan Guru Arpan will never say, Mahadeva will never say that your voice is not good. Amma will never say your voice is not good. Because it is Bhagavan's creation. You are his creation. So he can never find fault in you. We human beings find fault in things, even in things which we ourselves create. But Bhagavan never finds fault in things which he creates. His love is boundless. He cares for. So do not worry or feel shy at all. If you cannot be free with God, then whom else can you be free with? When you choose stotras, it is good to sing stotras that are full of praises. It gives you a certain amount of anandam in your heart. But verses which carry some meaning and suggestions for your intellect and mind are more profound and are more effective. Your recitations must be such that they contain some useful thinking. When you recite, be alone in a room, recite loudly, and listen to the recitation as though it is done by another person. By doing so, you will overcome your shyness. Concentration also will come easier. Because in such a kind of recitation and listening, one of your karmendriyas are the limbs or the indriyas by which you do your karma. So one of your karmendriyas, the mouth, and one of your jnanendriyas, indriyas by which you gather knowledge, which is ear, are being used. When you recite, you also listen at the same time. So you recite by mouth and you listen with your ear. So both these indriyas are used. One of your karmendriyas, mouth, and one of your jnanendriya, ear, are being used. So when those two indriyas get involved, concentration will be held effortlessly. And if you know the meaning of what you are reciting, then great. So in that case, each word uttered, your mind will absorb it and bring the meaning of it to your imagination. And if it happens so, then you will start feeling that a very powerful synchronization, a harmony with the nature, with the self, and with this entire universe is felt within you, and it will be achieved. We call it layam. And you will derive considerable delight and solace from this performance. Peace, shanti will come to your mind. That itself is a kind of yoga. You don't need to go in search of some higher yoga. This is called Laya Yoga. When you sing or when you recite and you listen to it, absorb the meaning of it, you will start feeling a powerful harmony and synchronization within you. And that itself is a yoga. Yoga means being one with the Lord. So if you adopt recitation as a form of sadhana, then that alone will take you to the height, the zenith. You can realize Bhagavan very soon. We call it self-realization. After all, as Vivekananda has said once, self-realization is a religion. As you progress, you will be selecting the best and the most inspiring verses. Initially, you start out with something, and then gradually you select the best that inspires you. Reciting those verses repeatedly, you will gradually gain mental purity and intellectual sharpness. And this mental purity and intellectual sharpness will help you attain Bhagavan, which is actually your own self. Bhagavan is not somewhere outside. He is within us. He is us. So that's how that whole process goes. So for that, you should make a practice of reciting for a few minutes or hours at the end. Stopping the recitation, you should sit quietly. You will be chanting several stotras or Gitams or Kirtanams or whatever. Then after you finish chanting, just don't jump up, get up and go. You sit there. You sit quietly. Don't think about anything else. Just be there. Enjoy the peace. Watch your inside. Feel that quietness. Then you will find the whole of your body. Actually, it is not the body. It is your being, your prana sharira. It is not the body that which we can touch. It is filled with a presence. In modern day usages, you can call it a mystic energy. That very feeling is called awareness, the Bodha. Bodha is nothing but Brahma. Not the Brahma of the Trinity, but the Brahman, the all-pervading Lord. So awareness, once you get that awareness, the lakshanas, the symptoms of attaining it are that your mind will be so pleasant, joyous and revealing. You will have a sort of union, okay, communion with the silence or the quietness within you. That communion will be very refreshing and it will illuminate you. You will feel like you are a ball of light. As the practice progresses, you'll feel that from every cell, every pore of your body, light emanates. And many other experiences will happen. But don't get stuck into those experiences. Your clairvoyance also might increase. You will know that such and such thing is going to happen somewhere now. But don't get entangled into all those siddhis. It is because the mind is getting more focused. It will open up the entire, that box of its complete faculties. But don't get entangled in all. See, these are like fancy items in a shop leading to a temple. Our goal is to get into the temple. So the practice of devotion in any simple manner will take even the most ordinary, illiterate and unintelligent man to the realization of Bhagavan. In the 7th skandha of Bhagavata, Prahlada, while teaching his classmates, the Asura classmates, he talks about how this process happens. How the practice of devotion, even in the simplest manner, how it leads the devotee to Bhagavan. He says, Nishamya karmani gunanudulyan viryani leelatanubhikridani yadadi harshod pulagasrugadgadam protkandha udgayadi raudi nrityadi yada grahagrasta iva क्वचित सत्यक्रंददे ध्यायदि वंददे जनम मुहु सुरस्वन्ति हरे जगत्पदे नारायणे त्यात्म मदिर्गदत्रभः. Those bhaktas, devotees who find a natural love towards the Almighty, that Bhagavan Narayana, will experience several pleasant sensations on hearing the stories describing the greatness of Bhagavan, Guru, his deeds and his sports. Their hair will stand on end, their face will turn red, their throat will get choked, thereby giving them an inexplicable, unexplainable delight. So in such moments, they will not hesitate to sing aloud. They will cry, they will weep, profusely they will weep, or they will even dance openly in ecstasy. There won't be any shame. And they sometimes, they can exhibit some other characteristic moods also. Sometimes they will behave as if they are possessed by an evil spirit. They will laugh, they will weep. Sometimes they will be so quiet and will sit pensive. They will just jump up. They will greet people. They won't have any sense of shame or fear. And then they will openly call out, Hari, 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 Hari. Narayana, 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 Hari, Guru Arapa, like that they will call. So when they exult thus, in such a fashion, in supreme devotion, then they will be giving, they will start heaving pronounced sighs frequently, forgetting the surroundings and remaining lost in the thought of God. Their body, their mind, both will get completely attuned one with their soul, which is Narayana himself, and his deeds. And all their bonds of ignorance and desires will get destroyed. By means of the highest device of devotion, they will attain. They will attain God. They will attain Narayana in the end. They will get moksham. They will become Jivan Muktas. They will get mukti as they are alive itself. And Prahlada continues to say that communion with the Lord, who is invisible, whom we cannot see. Why? Because he is dwelling within our body. That communion with that Lord that resides within their body gives them the freedom from the body itself. And they are freed from the cycle of continuous births and deaths. It removes from their mind all impurities. What do you mean by impurities? Impurities are those things where we cannot see the presence of Bhagavan. Wherever we can see the presence of Bhagavan, they are all pure. It removes from the devotee's mind all impurities and the ideas of difference and separation. This is different, that is different. We are high class, you are low class. You are rich, I am poor. All those differences are gone. And this is the process of knowing the ultimate truth. Truth is only one, which is the self, and knowing the self is knowing the truth. So the one who knows the truth, they say that what these devotees attain by becoming one with Bhagavan during those spiritual states of ecstasy, that is the same as Brahma Nirvana attained by yogis. So that is why in many scriptures and stotras and all, it is said that yogis had been trying to attain that state for thousands of years, but Bhagavan gives that state to his devotee, a simple devotee, in 1 second. So there is no difference between the Brahma Nirvana attained by a high level yogi, a practicing yogi. It is the same attained by a simple devotee experiencing the heights of ecstasy in union with Narayana or with any deity of your choice, any of your Ishtadevata. Because ultimately they are all one and the same. So therefore, Prahlada says, "O young boys, that ruler who resides in your heart, you just worship him. Don't waste your time." So these were the words of young Prahlada. He must have been 5 years old at that time, to his young friends, young classmates. What is the difference then do you find in the goal attained by staunch devotees and the same goal attained by the Vedantic Jnananishtas, who says that, only by the path of Jnana you will attain God? They are both the same. The ultimate purpose of devotion is to lose yourself in the embrace of Bhagavan within you. Instead of embracing somebody outside, you embrace the one who is inside. And it is so easy. You don't need to take your body to that body to embrace. Bhagavan is within you. So the embrace is always there. All you need is to identify it, acknowledge it. You are already embracing, he is embracing you, but just acknowledge it. You're not acknowledging it. That's why you are not feeling it. Thus, embrace is itself the state of Samadhi. You don't need to make it a very complicated affair. Don't think that Samadhi is a complicated affair. It is not a complicated affair. That embrace is itself that state of Samadhi, where your entire mind dissolves completely. This is the same state which the Vedantis achieved by vichara and contemplation. Manana and vichara. Sravana, manana, nididhyasana, they say. Which is more of an intellectual process. But you can attain the same by devotion, by bhakti. But bhakti, you have to be very careful. It is not the love for a form of God. It is a process by which you put your entire self into the form of God, and finally realizing that that form itself is you. That's why Acharya Swami has said, Swaswarupānusandhānam bhaktiritya vidiyade. Contemplating on one's own form is actually bhakti. And moksha sadhana samagriyam bhaktireva gariyasi. Bhakti, devotion, is the ultimate tool for attaining liberation. Liberation is not something not a process where you break out of a chain. It is just a process where you acknowledge that you are already free, but you are not aware of it. That's how you should see liberation or moksha. Moksha is not something that we do by breaking some chains and bondages and all. We are always free. It is just that, we are not acknowledging it. We think that we are tied down. So only the approach, and in the intermediate development there is a difference. The devotee achieves purity by reciting the name of the Lord variously. The Vedantic seeker tries to achieve the same through introspection and contemplation on his own self. That's the difference. You read Rubhu Gita, you read Oduvilodukam, you read Kaivalya Navanitam. Anywhere you will see that you are introspecting and contemplating on your own self. What you achieve by doing that, the same can be achieved by singing and reciting the glories of Bhagavan, being one with them, and finally understanding that he and you are one and the same. Just because you recite or just because you sing, you might not get that jnana. You will be still at the gate. You have to open the gate and get inside. And then only you will know that he and you are one and the same. So there is no need to compare one path with another. Such a comparison is absolutely wrong and unnecessary. In modern days, most of these bhakti prasthanams which we have, the bhakti movements which we have, they are denouncing the Jnana Marga or Vedantic Marga. And the Vedantis are denouncing the devotional path. And then there are people who say that karma is more important, the path of action. They denounce both the other paths. That's absolutely wrong. You have to actually have a combination of all these things. You have to do a karma with devotion, knowing that all this finally leads to the discovery or realization of yourself. So what you should do is to study the nature of your own mind and discover whether the devotional path or any other path is suitable for it. Just don't jump into the wagon because the others are there. Because your friend or your neighbor or your husband or your wife or your children or your parents get into a certain path, it doesn't require you to get into that same path. You study your own mind, you study your affinities, you find out who your Ishtadevata is, and find out when joy arises more. When you pray to which deity you feel more comfortable, that's your Ishtadevata. Your parents must be worshipping Krishna, but if you are finding more joy in worshipping Shiva, then you should be worshipping Mahadeva as your Ishtadevata. Your friend must be worshipping Mahadeva, then but you find more comfort worshipping Devi, then you should be worshipping Devi. And just because you are worshipping Devi, you should not be forcing your child to worship Devi. If that child wants to worship Krishna, you should allow him to worship Krishna. Or if somebody who is close to you, they want to worship Shunyata or Brahman in a Vedantic sense, don't discourage them. Let them act according to their mind. So if it is the bhakti path, adopt it. And then do the sadhanas according to that path accordingly. Whichever path you take, do sadhanas accordingly. Learn from gurus, learn from books, and above all, experiment. You are your own judge. You know what suits you. See that in the process you achieve the maximum purity and wisdom in the shortest period of time. That should be the goal. Purity and wisdom. Wisdom is only one, that you are him. We are one and only the one. With that regular understanding itself, purity will come, because you will never find anything bad in the world after that. However, those who feel any sort of hatred towards the bhakti marga, they are paving their way for a fall today or tomorrow. That's for sure. Those who denounce any of these three margas, three paths, they are doomed for sure. To surrender to the Almighty, to the Bhagavan, and then live a life of perfect peace and harmony is definitely a covetable achievement. Some youngsters ask me, Sharath Bhaiya, don't you think being devoted to God or any higher power is a form of slavery? Or to trust someone whom we haven't even seen, isn't it pure superstition? Or isn't it the sign of a weak mind? So I always tell them, to trust in someone whom we haven't even seen, to know that he will take care of us, to realize that he is us, it requires tremendous courage. No ordinary mind can have that level of trust and that level of courage. So being a believer requires you to be courageous also. In fact, your belief is your courage. So you cannot be a timid person or a slave just because you are a believer. If you are a believer and if you follow a path, you are the most courageous person. The trouble is that most people are not able to cultivate this attitude of samarpanam or surrender. The reason is that they have either a sense of conceit, or that their minds are full of desires, jealousy, and any other low level emotions. In fact, to hate anything is not good. If you see Bhagavan everywhere, then how can we hate anything? To hate devotion and the devotees is a more bad thing. It is equal to hating yourself and destroying your own inner peace and strength. I am talking about non-believers here, or the so-called intellectuals. But for devotees also, I have a small piece of advice. You also must not look at other groups of devotees or sadhakas with any kind of hatred or derision. You should not look down upon them. You should never say that your path is the best. You should never say that their path is the lowest. You should never say that they are doing wrong and you are doing right. Never. You are nobody to judge that. Give a place for every kind of person in your heart. Even the murderer and the murdered, that's why in Sri Rudram, Bhagavan is addressed, Mahadeva is addressed as Vanchade, Parivanchade and all. He is also the one who cheats and the one who gets cheated. He is also the killer and the one who gets killed. Bhagavan is everywhere. For Bhagavan, everyone are the same. If a good man and a bad man goes to a riverside, and when they both are about to start drinking water, they are both thirsty and they are both about to start drinking water. Have you ever seen a river saying, the good man, okay, you can please drink my water, and to the bad man, no, 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 you are a bad man, don't drink my water. Have you ever seen that? You will never see such a situation. So it is the same case with Bhagavan also. Bhagavan is the river. There is no discretion in his eyes. Both the good man and the bad man are his creations. Everything is Narayana, or everything is Mahadeva, or everything is Devi. Visualize it in whichever form you would love to. But your aim must be to realize him or her or that. When you are attempting for such realization, any sense of contempt, intolerance, or any of such low level thinking will create havoc for you in your path. So always be careful, always be on the guard. Never look down upon anything or anybody. Never look down upon a non-believer, never look down upon a devotee in another path. Many of the modern bhakti movements, they are teaching you to look down upon other paths. A devotee of Krishna is taught to look down upon a devotee of Mahadeva or a devotee of Devi. A devotee of Devi is taught to look down upon a devotee of Krishna or Mahadeva. And staunch followers of Mahadeva, they are taught to look down upon Krishna or Devi. That is wrong. And there is a school of Vedantins who will say that, all forms of bhakti are wrong. It's nothing like you cannot generalize like that. Has anybody understood Bhagavan in his fullest form? As long as that is not done, you cannot say that such and such path is wrong. There are people who worship Bhagavan with non-vegetarian food. You cannot say that that is wrong. There are people who worship Bhagavan with non-vegetarian food. They will tell that, the vegetarian way of worshipping, giving Nevedya to Bhagavan is absolute nonsense. That is also wrong. So the vegetarians and non-vegetarians cannot fight. For Bhagavan, he is everything. He lives within everything. At the same time, he consumes also everything. In Gita, in Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, it is very clearly said that he is everything. At the same time, he is different from everything. Also, he creates, he sustains, and he consumes also everything. So if you are a devotee, you must be the storehouse of as many virtues as possible. Try to find Narayana in everything around you. Always remember, Sarvada Tadikshanam. See him in everything, in every moment. Sarvada Tadikshanam is the first and last lesson for any devotee. Live every moment in him, but at the same time lead your normal life. There is nothing wrong in leading a normal life. But dedicate every moment, every result of your action, every enjoyment, every sorrow, every mistake, every achievement, every failure, everything, without discrimination. Dedicate every single moment, right from the time you get up in the morning till the time you get up in the next morning, you dedicate to Him. If you have had a good sleep, dedicate the happiness of that to Him. If you didn't have a good sleep, you had nightmares, dedicate that also to Him. Dedicate what you eat, the taste. If it is a good taste or it is a bad taste, don't show discrimination, dedicate it to Him. Dedicate everything to Him, even sex to Him, everything to Him. Live every moment in Him. Preserve your contentment at all costs. Be contented. What is contentment? Being one with Bhagavan is the ultimate contentment. Do not foster any unpleasantness on any ground, whatever it may be. When this is ensured, the rest will follow very easily. Narayaniam says in Narayaniam, Elpatur Bhattadripad says he is praying to Guru Ayappan. Hello, oh Bhagavan, Narayana, Krishna, that state of supremely blissful union with you, it is difficult to obtain through disciplines like charity or vows, vratas, sacrifices, even samyama, self-control, austerity, knowledge, and even by concentration. That blissful union was easily attained by the Gopikas of Vrindavana. Just through bhakti, that personal attachment to you, Bhagavan, as their own beloved. What rishis and strict practitioners couldn't attain through all these charities, sacrifices, vows, self-control, austerity, knowledge and concentration, meditation and all sorts of things, that supreme blissful union with you was attained by the Gopikas of Vrindavana just because of their love for you. You have so many bhaktas. There are numerous bhaktas of you in the world. There are so many of them. But see, it is this loving personal bhakti or devotion of these gopikas, these illiterate village girls, that received your highest appreciation, Guru Ayappa. So, O Krishna, O the Lord of Guruvayur, may you strengthen bhakti, devotion in me and destroy all my ailments, not just of the body, but of my mind and also of the soul. Narayana Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Guru Ayappa Sarveshwara.